Are you a service-based business owner looking to increase profits to fund your lifestyle? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you inspirational guests sharing actionable tips to solve many of the struggles you face each and every day. And now, over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hi, Paul here. Before we get into the show, would you like to make a great first impression on LinkedIn? If so, I have something just for you. When people search for your name on Google, your LinkedIn profile will normally come up first. Before meeting someone for the first time, how often do they view your LinkedIn profile? For many coaches and consultants I begin to work with, their profiles don't do them any justice. I've created a simple solution where you can whip your profile into shape to have your best foot forward when attracting new clients on LinkedIn. Go to blgdownload.com, so that's blgdownload.com to get your 5 killer tips today. Hello to the Build, Live, Give Solo podcast, episode number 292. If it's your first time, welcome. And if you love what you hear, please subscribe. I recommend listening to episode 0.5 to guide you as much as I can. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. It means the world to me. I love listening to podcasts and always have follow-up questions. Yes, I'm one of those people. If you're the same, go to paulhigginsmentoring.com/questions and lodge yours, and I promise to answer it. Please check out past shows on your favorite platform. Just search Build, Live, Give. So today's topic is LinkedIn outreach. You will learn what doesn't work. Let's get that out of the road first. And then more importantly, what is working. So I've got a bit of a head cold at the moment, not COVID, but I've got a bit of a head cold. So if I sound a little different, that's why. So what is LinkedIn outreach, right? What I describe it as is it's sending connection requests and messages to first, second, and third connections. And often people forget about their first connections. It's the best place to start. Then you send follow-up messages to them, right? And, different messages once they accept your connection. And I think the other key thing here is that, I always call it the 3 Ps. The first thing is you've got to have your profile set up right. And if you want some information on that, just go to blgdownload.com. So that's blgdownload.com and you'll get some tips on that. And also posting, right? Because when you look at a connection request, often you'll go and look at their profile and you'll look at their activity to see if there's someone you can trust. So that's a bit of a setup. So what doesn't work? And I've got to preface this by saying it's from my personal experience. There's 70 odd people that we've got in the sales machine, the membership I run, and also from my peers. So, it won't be your experience, but it's certainly my experience. So it's more opinion from my experience. So the context also is selling high ticket services, right? That's what we mainly do, and that's what I help people do. So the first one is poor qualification. So, the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. And I just see this time and time again where certainly when people engage third-party agencies, there are some really good ones out there, which I'll talk about in a moment. But for me, when I've done it with third-party agencies, for some of them it hasn't worked because they've just given me lots of leads, but unqualified leads. The next is you connect and pitch, right? We all know, and I got someone the other day sent me a message saying, thanks for such a lovely way of approaching me, not like the spam I normally get. So we all get it, right? So if the big question I always ask myself is, would I open the connection and would I reply to the first message, right? So we all get that. I won't dwell on it. The next is long blurbs. Thanks, you've connected and then you get, paragraphs of information. Most people on their mobile phone, most people, including you, are incredibly busy, right? They don't want to diatribe. Remember, we're all in the world of chat these days. That's what we're used to, so you got to keep it that short. Sales navigator overwhelm, right? You might have bought it, you don't know what to do with it. The second thing is that you have all of these lists in different geographies and different roles, and they're all got different sizes. So it can be quite overwhelming. I know that was the case for me. You try to do it all yourself. And I did this to begin with, and it just doesn't work, right? Like I said, you've got a full-time job, which is normally delivering your service. Then you're doing sales on top. And if you get overwhelmed by LinkedIn, it can be an absolute rabbit hole. The next is you don't have a sales CRM to track, so you miss follow-up, right? It just slips through the cracks. I was talking to someone the other day, and their email, they were using a certain email automation platform, and it kept bouncing, but they didn't know, right? So all the follow-up emails didn't get through, and it was thousands of dollars that they missed. But it's also very hard to track and remember everybody in your own mind. So not having that can really cost you dollars. And the last one is using industry-wide scripts, right? We've all seen them. It's all by some of the key guys that train. It's like boring. Okay, go to sleep. So there's some of the things that we found that don't work. Okay, so before I go into what is working well, I'd like to talk to you about the Sales Machine. I mentioned it above. It's a community for service-based owners, coaches, and consultants to build authority and get 1 to 3 high-quality leads a week using LinkedIn. We remove the noise from you and show you what the 1% of people are doing that are successful, rather than all the noise of the other 99 selling at you. All you've got to do is go to buildlivegive.com/SM. I've got a free on-demand masterclass. Just go and watch it, and it'll give you my absolute best on the topic. So what is working from our experience? And it's really the flip, right, of what's not working. So the first is quality, not quantity, right? In the qualification, just do make sure that you're very, very specific on your ideal client, and you train your team to find them. Like I'm still, 12 months in working with my dedicated team member on doing this for me, and I still vet each time. Not all of them, but I take samples every time we have a call. We have 2 calls a week, and I'll go through and say, well, why did you pick this one? What was the purpose behind that one? And the other one, guess what? You change your mind. Yes, we do as business owners change who our ideal clients are, but we've got to make sure our team is in line with that, right? So that's really important. The next one is hot potato. So I call it the hot potato, i.e., you've got a hot potato, you don't want to hang on to it, you want to throw it to the next person, right? And vice versa. So just ask little short questions. And I've got to say, one of the best in the world at this is a guy called Taki Moore, Taki Moore, Moore. I'm doing his black belt program at the moment, and he's just got some great one words. And it really is like, it's like you're in a cafe or a bar and you're actually having a conversation. You wouldn't walk up and have a huge dialogue and then wait for someone to reply, right? Little short, 9 words normally are great, with a question mark to get them to engage, and be friendly and personable, and a bit of humor never goes astray. The next one is test different messages, right? Because different people respond to different things, and how do you know if you're not testing them? And it doesn't have to be a fully integrated test where you got a sample size of 500 people and whatever. Just keep testing them and seeing what they are. The other one, which I talked about, Sales Navigator, things that isn't working well above, is, have really clean lists and have no more than 900 contacts. And when you look at that in Sales Navigator, you can see who's been on LinkedIn the next 30 days, that in the last 30 days, I should say. That's a great indicator, okay, of how active they are on LinkedIn as well. So that's another qualification. Hire a VA, a dedicated VA. I've spoken about this. So, it's really a fork in the road, right? You can either hire an agency or you can hire a VA. I've done a bit of both. At the moment, we're actually in-house. We're using a dedicated resource, and that's working really well. Now, if you're just kicking off, you can use a part-time one, but it's really important that you're doing the sales component, i.e. the calls, etc., and they're doing a lot of the other activities on your behalf. The next, which is, I said, that fork in the road, you can hire an agency. And like I said, some agencies just give you lots of leads that are unqualified, but I've found the needle in the haystack. So if you want some help referring me to you for a great agency, just please reach out. The next is set up a sales CRM, right? We use Copper, which is fantastic, but there's so many great options out there. Copper, Pipedrive, I could go on and on. We used to sell sales CRMs into agencies, so I know this space really well. The one thing I will say is any CRM is better than none. right? So I highly recommend that. Now, the next one is a little extension that we've loved. Like if you're struggling with copying messages across, or your VAs are, and it, all gets a bit confusing, because let's face it, LinkedIn Messenger is not the best platform in the world. You can now use a brilliant tool that will actually allow you to directly press a button in LinkedIn and the messages go straight into your sales CRM. It's absolutely brilliant. So it's leadjet.io. And David, one of the founders, is actually coming on the show in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to interview him, so certainly look out for that. And the last one is you're consistently testing different messages, right? But, which ones work, which ones don't? Well, keep track of them. So I use Airtable. You could use a Google sheet. You could use whatever you want. But I love Airtable, where it allows you to have different categories sorted a lot easier. And that's where my team can go and look at all the scripts that we've used and, pick the best, because a set script will never work, but different scenarios and having those scenarios and how you might reply does. So I know this one was a bit longer than normal, but I really love this topic and, love to hear from you on this topic. So 3 key actions from this podcast. One is ask me for specific questions, right? I've given you an overview, but your specific questions, ask me, test me out. paulhigginsmentoring.com/questions. Go to buildlivegive.com, as I said before, buildlivegive.com/SM for more tips. There's a great masterclass on demand. The next is hit me up to get samples of our best performing messages, right? Reach out to me. I'm happy to share those ones that are working best. You can get all the links in the show notes at paulhigginsmentoring.com/podcast, episode 292. That's it. We're approaching the big 300. Or you can find it on the app that you're listening to at the moment. I recommend the Pocket Cast app, no affiliation. You can listen to episode 0.5 if you're new to get a great overview, and please connect and follow me on LinkedIn. You might even get a taste of some of my scripts that way. If you know someone interested in LinkedIn outreach, please share this with them. They will love you for it. Please take action to build, live, and give.
Thanks for listening to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you like what you heard, please share it and leave us a review. It would mean the world to us.